So if the question, what's your expected salary, comes up in a job interview, do you know how to answer it? If not, tune in, because in this video, you'll learn 4 tips to answer that popular interview question so that you can get the salary you deserve. And hey, if you want even more guidance on your next interview, make sure you take a look at my interview guide cheat sheet, where I share 5 of the most commonly asked interview questions and how you should answer them. I'll go ahead and link the cheat sheet below. If we've never met before, I'm Heather Austin from ProfessorAustin.com and the Career Club on Facebook. And on this channel, I teach working professionals just like you how to build your personal brand so that you can land your dream job and grow in a field you love. So if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and the bell notification so you're notified when I publish a new video or when I go live every week. The expected salary question is bound to come up in your next interview, and you'll be caught off guard unless you're prepared for it. Now, the answer to this question sounds easy, but it's actually a little bit more complex than you might think. Interviewers ask this question because they want to know if they can really afford you and how you value your own skills, talents, and abilities. When you answer this question, you want to be really careful that you're not undervaluing or overpricing yourself. And ideally, you never want to mention salary until later in the process, preferably your second, third, or even a later interview. Now, here's what Larry wrote after learning about some of the principles I'm about to teach you today. Hello, Heather, I have good news. I was offered that position and for substantially more than I was initially expecting, $17,000 more. The funny thing is, I didn't have to do any negotiating. He goes on to say, I'd like to thank you for creating your YouTube videos because they are very informative, helpful, and especially with building my confidence as far as interviewing goes. Now, if you want to see the same results as Larry, keep watching. Tip number 1 is to know your market. Before you can answer what's your expected salary, you need to know what others in your industry and geographical area are earning. For example, someone living in San Francisco, California is going to command a higher salary than someone living in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Learn as much as you can ahead of time by doing your research. Now, I have a few recommended websites that I like to use to learn more about a specific position and what the expected salary is. The first site is the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and specifically the Occupational Outlook Handbook. The BLS reports statistical data on things like median pay, the work environment, and the job outlook for a specific position. For example, I could type the term computer programmer into the search bar. This will give me detailed information about the specific position so that I can get a better idea of what my salary should really be. You could also use resources like Glassdoor and Indeed. These are very similar to the BLS, however, they give you another perspective on the position. I'll link all of these resources below. Another thing that will really help you know your market is to network with others in similar positions. Find out what it looks like on a daily basis to be in their shoes. What are some of the larger projects they're working on? What are some of the challenges they face on a daily basis? This will give you a better idea of what the job really looks like and help you determine your expected salary. And if you're working with a recruiter, get as much information as you can from them. And I want to know from you in the comments below this video, tell me if you've ever entered salary negotiations and if you got the salary that you were wanting. Let me know and we'll continue the conversation down there. Tip number 2 is to know your value. To get a better understanding of what you can offer a company and what you might be worth to them, make a list of your greatest accomplishments. Your greatest accomplishments should demonstrate your best qualities and what makes you stand out from everyone else. It should also be some of the larger projects or some of the biggest problems that you've solved. Think about some of the things that you've done in your previous work experience or even in your education experience that make you the most proud. And to really hit it on the head with this one, make sure you jot down accomplishments that are directly related to the position that you're applying for and accomplishments that are more recent. And because quantifiable accomplishments are easier to measure, make sure you list ways where you've cut costs, increased productivity, or used your expertise in some way to improve processes. Now, I have a few resources that will really help you pinpoint your greatest accomplishments. The first is how to write your accomplishment statements for your resume. And then the second is how to mention your greatest accomplishments during your interview. Now I'll link both of these resources below for you and you can watch them as soon as you're done with this one. Tip number 3 is to let the hiring official make the first offer. Do your very best to let the hiring official make the first offer. This will give you more leverage to ask for what it is you really want. If you tell them your expected salary before they've shared what they're willing to pay, you risk the chance of either undervaluing or overpricing yourself. So I'm gonna give you a couple of responses that you can use if they ask you what's your expected salary without even knowing what they're willing to pay. The first response is, I'm open to discussing this as we get further in the interview process once I've learned more about the position, the company, and who I will be working with. However, I will consider any reasonable offer. Another response you could give is, you are in a much better position to know how much I'm worth to you than I am. I'm open to discussing salary once we get further in the interview process, and I have a solid idea of what the position entails. Now, once you get through the interview process and you've learned what it is that you need to know about the company and the position to make an educated statement about what your expected salary is, you could use this statement. I will consider any reasonable offer. However, based on my skills, my expertise, and my talents, and based on what I know about the position and the company, I believe a salary of, and then list the salary, is competitive. Now keep in mind that your salary doesn't need to just include annual compensation. When you're negotiating your salary, you can include things like bonuses, vacation time, maybe even more of a flexible work schedule. Most hiring officials know that qualified candidates are enticed by some of these other items inside of a compensation package, so they are definitely willing to enter negotiations with you. The other thing I want you to keep in mind is that the expected salary question is slightly different than if the interviewer asks you what you're currently making in your position. I have another video that goes into even more detail about how to answer the question, what are you currently making? So I'll link that video below and you can watch that when you're done here today. Tip number 4, don't be afraid to negotiate. Most hiring officials expect you to negotiate, so don't be afraid to jump into negotiations about your salary or compensation package. Some people fear that negotiating their salary is presumptuous and will risk their chance of getting the job. In fact, it's been reported that only 29% of job seekers enter salary negotiations, which means 71% leave money on the table by not even negotiating. Before you answer the what's your expected salary question, you need to determine the lowest number that you'll take while at the same time having your dream number in mind. Keep in mind that these numbers can change as you learn more about the position and more about the company and what it entails. And I want to leave you with one final bonus tip when it comes to answering what's your expected salary. Find a mentor that can help you work through this process. This could be a coach, someone you look up to, a teacher, a manager, or a supervisor that you can practice your answer to this interview question. This will build your confidence and, in the end, help you get the salary you deserve. And to help you better prepare for your next interview, take a look at the video I made right here where you'll learn what not to say in an interview. And if you like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button down below. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and I will see you in the next video.